Hi folks, today on the Cowbridge kitchen we're going to go back to Italy. I'm going to be making some meatball calzone, and for this we're going to need to make some meatballs, we're going to need to make some tomato sauce, we're going to need to make some pizza dough. So let me show you what we're doing with the meatballs first. Okay, so for our meatballs what we're going to need, I've got about 350 grams or so here of lean minced meat. Okay, we're going to need that, pop that into a container. Red onion, and we're going to dice that up. We've got some lazy garlic, use fresh garlic if you like, I'm using lazy garlic. Some hot chili powder, just a small amount of that. Some pepper, black pepper. Tarragon, again, I'm using dried tarragon. If you want to use fresh tarragon, you know, be my guest, use fresh. It'll probably taste better, but I'm using dried tarragon. And we've got some onion granules. So we've got some onion granules here to go into our meatballs. Okay, so let me show you what we need to do to get this this together. Okay, so with our mince, which is in our bowl, what we want to do now is get your hand in there and get this all mushed up, so that it's all the little strips of mince have gone. So it's a nice big ball of mushed up mince meat. That should take a few minutes to do that. This will take a little while, but put a bit of effort into it because it makes your meatballs much smoother, much nicer. So get it all mushed up so there's no little strips of mince left in there. It's just a big ball of mince meat. Okay, so having done that now, our mince meat is all nice and squashed up. Make a little bit of flatten it out a little bit in the bowl. So it's just like that. And we're going to add our ingredients now. Pepper, just a shake of pepper, nothing too much. Onion granules. We're going to go 1 teaspoon of onion granules. Shake them all over. Lazy garlic. Okay, I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of garlic in there. Get that into it. A bit of the oil as well, which is quite nice. Then we're going to have our tarragon. Yeah, so we're going to pop our tarragon in there as well. So we want about 1 teaspoon of tarragon. But I quite like it, so I'm going to pop quite a bit in there. Half a teaspoon now, okay, of chili powder into that as well. And then what we need to do is to get this all mixed in, and then we can add our onion into it. Just need to get your hands in there now, really, get it all mixed in. So there's evenly mixed in, okay, so you haven't got one bit with a big massive dollop of chili powder that's going to blow your head off if you get the unlucky meatball. And you haven't got any without anything in it at all. So get it all well mixed up. Spend a couple of minutes doing this. So what we're going to do at this stage now, we've got our onion all diced up. We're going to add our onion into this meat mincemeat mix. Okay, so we get the whole lot of onion in. Again, I love red onion, so I put the whole onion in there. Love it. Hand again, get this all mixed in, nice and evenly again, so your onions all mixed in well to your mincemeat. There we go. Okay, so our mincemeat is all made up here in a pot. What we're going to do, we're going to flour this board here, and we're going to start rolling them out into small meatballs on the board. Okay, so size-wise, I'm only going to make small ones. Really, they are going to be small. So we're going to get a little piece there, roll it in the flour, roll it in your hand, and really sort of compress it, okay? So that it holds together. Compress it in your hands like this, so it's flat, and then roll them out. Okay, so there you are, they're about that size. Alright, so I'm going to do as many of them as I can out of that. So, I managed to get, out of that 350 grams of minced beef, I managed to get 18 meatballs. Small ones, but perfectly sized 18 meatballs. So what we're going to do with these, I'm going to put these now onto a floured baking tray parchment and get them in the fridge. Okay, so onto this baking tray, I'm just going to get some flour. Leave that around there to stop those meatballs sticking, and we should be able to get all of these quite nicely on this. There we go. Perfect. And I'm going to pop these into the fridge. Okay, so pop these in here, and these can stay in here now for about an hour. So while our meatballs are resting now in the fridge, what we're going to do is we're going to get the tomato sauce made up. Okay, so for this we're going to want some chopped up onions first of all, and they're going to go into a pan with some butter. Over here we've got our pan on the stove. Okay, we've got a nice generous amount of butter in there. What we want to do is get that melted, get these onions into the pan, and there we are. Our butter is pretty much melted. Okay, it's not fully melted, but it's good enough. What we're going to do now is get our onions into here. All in there, lovely. Okay, I'm going to avoid putting any garlic in this sauce for the simple reason that this is obviously the sauce for the meatballs, and the meatballs have already got some garlic in there. So we're going to avoid garlic, so we're just going to go with the onions. So yeah, turn the heat right down on them and let them cook there for a few minutes. So while our onions are cooking over here on the stove, we're going to get some paste made up now to make the flavour for the sauce. So we're going to use one beef stock cube, okay? Grind that up into a powder. That's going to go into there. Got some smoked paprika, okay? We want to put 1 teaspoon now of smoked paprika in there. And if you put a bit more, it's not going to really hurt there. I've probably got about 1.5 teaspoons of smoked paprika. We've got some tomato ketchup, okay? A generous amount. I mean, we're probably looking at, if we take a serving spoon, okay, we're probably looking at about 2 serving spoons of ketchup. So we'll just guess that out. There's 1, there's 2. Okay, so 2 serving spoons of ketchup, and then we've got Italian passata, and this stuff's got basil already in it, so we don't need to put any basil in here. Same amount of this into there, so about 2 good serving spoons of this passata. There we are, 1, 2. So onto that now, add a tiny bit of hot water, just a splash, and then we'll mix the paste in. Get all that mixed now, so that all of the powders that you put in first all come up. There you go. And that is all mixed through quite nice. So our onions are virtually cooked now, so we'll just go and take a quick look at them. And there we are, they're nice and soft now, melted in the butter, all quite nice. So what we're going to do to this at this stage, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of flour. Okay, just a level teaspoon now of flour into that butter and onions. Mix that in. There we are. If you want the sauce a little tiny bit thicker, add a little tiny bit more flour, okay? So alright, we'll add 1.5, there we are. Just to make that into a nice paste. So I've got 1.5. On top of that now, our tin of chopped tomatoes, okay? I'm going to pop them in there. And that's going to cool it down quite nicely. So that's going to take a little while now to reheat. Yeah, turn the heat up a little bit and get that nice and hot. And as that heats up, that sauce, or those tin chopped tomatoes, will start to thicken quite nicely. There we are. So with the heat up now, our mix that we made earlier as well, this can go straight into here, and all that lovely flavour is going to make its way through those tomatoes, and that sauce is going to be delicious. So, okay, our sauce has now been cooking on the stove. It's thickened quite nicely, and it tastes absolutely beautiful. Check that. That is ready for the meatballs. So what we'll do, get our meatballs out of the fridge now, and we'll fry them off in a pan, and they can go in the sauce. There we are, 1 pan on the stove now, nice piece of butter in there. Get that melted at a nice steady heat, and our meatballs can be fried off. There we are, butter's melted, meatballs in the pan. We should be able to get them all in, I hope. Only just. There we are, and leave those little monkeys there to cook for a few minutes. Here we are, so these little bad boys have been cooking for a few minutes now, so if we turn them over, you can see now that they're starting to brown on the one side. So what we're going to do with these, we're going to get them all turned over, leave them to cook for about another 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes or so, so that they all brown up nicely. Okay, so our meatballs have been cooking in this pan here for about 5 minutes or so now. They're nice and brown on both sides, and they're looking sort of cooked all the way around. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop the tomato sauce back on the stove, get that warm, meatballs can go straight into there. Here we are. So meatballs, fat and all, everything into the tomato sauce. Get them mixed in there. So then we're going to let these cook on the stove now. I'll get them covered and let them cook under their own sort of steam, if you like, for about 10 more minutes. And then we can set them aside. And that will be our filling for our calzone. Okay, so for the calzone itself, we're going to need a few things now ready to make this up. Okay, we're going to need some egg wash, which we've got here. Want some flour. We've got some cheese. Okay, we've got some cheddar there and mozzarella mixed cheese there. I've got a bit of double Gloucester. You can use any cheese you like. Parmesan, stuff like those sorts of cheeses are what you want to use, but I'm using these two. We've got our meatball and tomato mix that we made up earlier on. We need that. And we're going to want some parchment paper as well. I greased this a little bit because I find even though it's non-stick, it still sticks. So I put a little bit of extra sort of olive oil on there, is what I did. So we'll put that aside for now. And obviously we're going to want one piece of our pizza dough. Okay, so let's show you how I'm going to get this together. Okay, so what we did with our dough is we've divided our dough into three. So we've got 3 evenly divided pieces of dough, and we put them under a tea towel in their shapes, ready to prove again. And as you can see, they've pretty much doubled in size again. So we've got 3 nice calzones out of this. Okay, so let's show you the process, and let's get one of these calzones cooking in the oven. What I'm going to do, I'm going to lightly flour a surface here. Here we are, get some flour onto that. And then we're going to grab one of our pizza doughs now, which have risen quite lovely. Okay, we're going to get that beaten down a little tiny bit now and onto the floured surface. We're going to roll this out now into something that's going to resemble a circle of some sort. We don't want it too thin, so don't roll this out as thin as you would say a pizza if you're making a thin crust pizza. Okay, we don't want it that thin. I want to get this to a specific size so that I can cheat slightly. If I can get that to about that size, I'm going to get a standard plate, and hopefully that'll fit on there, something like that. And then with a knife, I can cut around my plate, take that excess bit of dough off. There we go. And then what you're left with then, albeit a slight cheat, is a nice round shape. Okay, with this shape now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move it. It doesn't matter if it goes out of shape slightly. I'm going to get it out of the way, and I'm going to bring in a piece of parchment paper now, which has been greased, like I said earlier. Okay, what we need at least 1/2 of that on top of there, so it's sat on the parchment, and it doesn't matter about the other end because we're going to fold this over. Okay, so that's our pizza dough rolled out and ready to go. And what we need to do now is we're going to add the filling. So, I think I made 18 meatballs earlier, so by my advanced mathematics skills, that's 6 each if I'm going to make 3, which is what I'm going to do. So 6 meatballs each, okay? So what we want to do, we want to sort of just fill the one side, okay? I find I'll get 6 in here actually, it's quite a Oh, it's still quite large. How many is that? 4. Yeah, that's 5. And 6. There we are. And quite a bit of juice in there now as well. There we are. Get all of our tomato sauce in there. So what we've done here is we've left like an edge, okay? So you do need to leave a bit of an edge on that. We'll get plenty of sauce in there. Here we are. So with that now we're going to add some cheese to this, okay? So like I said, whatever your choice of cheese was, get some of that in there. Don't overfill it because it's just going to gush out. Gonna have a mozzarella and cheddar mix there. There we are. So nice cheese. Get a bit over the bottom there. Doesn't matter. There we are. So that's our cheese. Okay. So that's the filling of our calzone. What we're going to do now is we're just going to fold this over into a sort of a pasty, if you like. There we are. So that it goes onto the edge there. Okay. And we can squash this down. What we'll do, I'm not going to do anything fancy with it. All I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of egg wash. And I'm going to put this around the edge there to help it stick. And then we're just going to fold it over and make like a crust on it, if you like. There we are. Fold him over all the way around, push him down with your thumbs. And of course that egg wash now should hopefully help it stick. There we are. Push that down. And there's our calzone prepared. Okay, because there's a lot of cheese in here as well, it's going to release a lot of steam out of the cheese as well. So what we want to do is make some cuts in the top, okay? 1, 2, 3. So that's going to let that out, and as you can see, it resembles quite a large Cornish pasty. Okay, next thing now is to get this into the oven. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. So our oven is on about 180 to 200, okay? So I've got it around about that area. What we're going to need here now is a chopping board, and I'm going to get that calzone onto this chopping board and into the oven tray. Okay, so we have our oven tray here, and our calzone. What we do is put our chopping board level there with the work surface, and then you can just pull the whole thing onto the board. Dead simple. What we'll do with this then, again, same technique. Oven tray, okay, paper, slide the whole lot, put the board on, put the whole lot onto the paper. That's simple. That can now go in the oven. Probably take about half an hour. There we are, centre of the oven. Let that cook for half an hour or so, and then we'll come and check it. Okay, so our calzone, it's been in the oven now for about 20-25 minutes. I've just had a little look at it, and boy, is it done. Let me show you this. Oh yeah. Get a load of that. There we are. One beautiful meatball calzone. Get this on a plate now. I'm going to put a bit of Mediterranean couscous with this, and we're going to get our chief tester to try it out.